Automation is one of the most useful tools that we have to help create good mixes. It gives us the ability to control parameters within tracks, buses, synths and effects, making changes in real time as the project plays. All hands-free. In this section we're going to look at this automation, specifically track automation, and how it's edited in the track view. We looked at MIDI controller automation in the PRV in the MIDI editing section. It's possible to edit and draw MIDI controller automation in the track view as well though. Some simple examples of using automation might be reducing level of track at certain points in the project, or controlling an effect send that is only required in specific areas. But it can also be as complex as you want, changing synth parameters in real time, as well as changing multiple parameters on effects or send levels all at the same time across as many tracks as you want. Not only are most controls and parameters automatable on tracks, buses, effects, synths and the Pro channel, but individual clips can also have certain types of automation applied to them. For now, however, we'll be concentrating on track automation, which includes buses, and we'll take a look at clip automation later and the differences then. Although I'm working mainly in the track view on audio tracks, the methods used are the same whether it's audio tracks, MIDI tracks, simple instrument tracks or buses, although the parameters available to automate will vary of course. Let's put a track in focus so that we can see the clip better. Now we can add automation in several ways. We can record it in real time by recording parameters as they are changed using a variety of methods, and we'll cover those in more detail soon. We can also draw it in manually or copy existing automation and paste it into a track or lane. Whichever method we use to create the automation, it can be edited using the graphical tools or redone completely using any of the methods. And there's a couple of different ways of working with envelopes in X2. Either InTrack, using the track edit filter to control the in-focus envelope, or by breaking out the envelopes into lanes. We'll look at both of these methods as each has its advantages and drawbacks. Let's look at InTrack first. One advantage of InTrack is that it uses less screen space as all editing happens in the same lane. Equally, one of the disadvantages is you can only work on one envelope per track at the same time. To create an envelope in track, we need to change the edit filter of the track to the required envelope. Remember that can be done from the track header if it's visible, or by left-clicking and using the HUD. Simply select the envelope that you want. In this case, we'll put in the volume envelope. This draws an automation envelope at the level of the current volume setting and prevents editing of the clip or any other data type associated with this track. There are only two nodes present on this envelope at the moment, one at the very beginning and one at the very end. As we deal with automation, you'll hear the terms envelope and nodes, so I'll explain these first. An automation envelope is a name given to the collection of nodes and segment lines that connect these nodes. As you can see, this one's a very simple 2 nodes, 1 segment, volume envelope. So what's a node, you may be wondering? A node is just a marker that sets the value of a parameter at a point in time within a track or a clip. Once there's more than one node, they're joined together as a segment via a virtual line, and we have an envelope. This joining line can be linear, a sudden jump, a fast curve or a slow curve. We'll look at each in more detail later. Notice that once an envelope's been created, it's promoted up the edit filter menu or submenu along with any other existing envelopes. For example, if I create a pan envelope, which is currently at the bottom of the menu, now click on the edit filter again, we'll see that's been promoted to the top. Notice that the volume envelope has disappeared, and the reason for that is because there was no editing done on it at all, and the envelope isn't actually created until some editing is done first. The scale ruler to the left of the clips pane will also change to show a relative scale for the currently selected envelope type. Our nodes can be added by left-clicking on the envelope at the required point, where the cursor turns into a pencil tool. These nodes can then be selected by clicking on them. Click dragging will move them to wherever you want, both up and down, or backwards and forwards in time. We'll look at the automation editing in more detail shortly. Creating another envelope is simply a matter of choosing another one from the edit filter. Call up the HUD again, go to automation, and we'll recreate the volume envelope. This time I'll put a node on it. That ensures that it won't disappear. Now we've created the volume envelope, the pan one has become ghosted and is unavailable for editing, while the newly inserted envelope becomes the current one. It's possible to select whether the non-active envelopes are visible at all in the track view menu under the View Display submenu. It's the Display Ghosted Data option. If this is deselected, any envelopes that are not currently selected will not be visible. As you can see, the pan envelope has disappeared. This will also affect whether they are included in any selection made. For example, if you have ghosted data visible and perform a copy which includes automation, All automation, including any ghosted envelopes, is included. If deselected, only the current in focus envelope is copied. Here's a few neat tricks for changing data types quickly. If you hold down the Shift key and left click on a different type of data to that currently displayed, the edit filter will change to that data type. For example, that's gone to clips. To get back to the pan envelope, just left click on that, shift click on the volume envelope to switch back to that. Holding the Shift key down with the cursor over ghosted envelope will display a pop-up so you can see the type of envelope that you're about to switch to. Shift and right click will switch between the last two edit filter states. So now if I shift and right click, the edit filter switches between the pan envelope and the volume envelope. They're the last two that I've used. There's also a keyboard shortcut, which is the equals key, that will swap the edit filter from its present state to the volume envelope. So for example, if I change back to clips, then press the equals key on the keyboard, it switches to the volume envelope. If there isn't a volume envelope, it will create one. Now we've seen how to insert envelopes and nodes in a track using the edit filter, let's look at another method of drawing automation. We need to switch to the draw tool to do this, and that's done by pressing F9 or selecting it from the HUD or tool module in the control bar. As we saw earlier, there are several modes available for the draw tool, so select one that best suits your need. I'm going to use the freehand draw tool, but there are also lines and various shape modes. All I have to do now is draw freehand the envelope shape that I want the control to follow, and the nodes are automatically drawn to create that shape. If I choose to use predefined shapes, such as a sine wave, my initial click point sets the vertical midpoint of the shape, and the amplitude or height of the shape is controlled by the distance the cursor is away from that midpoint. Dragging below the midpoint inverts the phase of the shape. Then all I need to do is drag the length of the track. The sine wave is created, and I can control the height by moving the cursor up or down the height of the track. If I want to constrain the amplitude to a certain height, I can hold the Shift key down while starting to drag. The cycle times of these shapes is set by the snap value. For example, if snap is set a quarter, one complete cycle lasts one beat. If snap is off, the cycle defaults to a measure. These cycle to snap times can be modified using modifier keys. Holding down the Alt key halves the cycle frequency time, and holding the Control key down doubles it. To get back to the Smart tool, press F5 or use the HUD or tool module to change it.